Thanks again for staying with us on the program TMI Monday. Well, it's always a delight to have you join us on the program, and today is not an exception. We get our conversations on the show right now, right away. State of the nation matters arising, and one of the most topical matter that has been on the front burner is the issue of electronic transmission of election results, which has been given some backing, conditionally though, by the National Assembly. Well, if you follow what's happening on that matter on the pages of newspapers, you see that it's attracted a lot of reactions in recent times from Chief Mike Ozekome, a senior advocate of Nigeria, from Afenifere, and several other critical stakeholders saying different things, but apparently it shows they are not happy with the tone of events and the turn of events as it relates to the issue of electronic transmission of election results. So it's a case of National Assembly versus INEC, Independent National Electoral Commission. I'm joined in the studio here by a politician, public affairs commentator, is also an author. Let me thank very specially Bishop Akalame. Thank you for coming.
Thank you very much, Dr. Bishop Akalame.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Bishop Akalame. And also joining us from the UK is the founder of Pius Alile Coalition Initiative, Pius Alile. Pius, thank you for joining us on the program TMI.
Thank you very much, Mr. Okoso. Is that Mr. Akalame? Please extend my greetings.
Thank you very much, viewers. Okay, so he can hear you loud and clear. Reverend Olu Martin hopefully will join us as we get along in this conversation. Let me start off from Nigeria, because charity, they say, must begin from home. Yeah. So Bishop Akalame, looking at the issue of electronic transmission of results, yes, it's been passed by the National Assembly, but conditionally. What do you make of the reactions that have trailed the way the National Assembly responded to this issue?
Well, when it came, when I got the message, I was not really happy. And looking at the condition and the stand, the position of the NCC, because the position of the National Assembly, the position of the senators, was as a result of the stand of the NCC, the National Communication Council. Communication Council. The executive commissioner of that council, of that commission, said that 50% of Nigerians cannot have access to 3 gig. That Nigeria needs 3 gig to transmit results from the local to where they are needed. That he talked about the 3 gig. It does not just end there, and he equally talk about hackers. That if they cannot guarantee the safety of those results, that there are hackers who may hack on the system. That one is there. That the 3 gig we are talking about may not allow the full result to get to centers. Now the question I normally ask now, if we look at what happened in Edo State, 2020 governorship election, the INEC did what is called the electronic transmission of results, and it worked. It worked. So why is it that the executive commissioner of the NCC is giving us this position that they cannot guarantee the safety of the results, and Nigeria is not yet ripe for this process of transmission results? But the other thing is that if we go into electronic transmission, it gives credibility to the electoral process. The ideal of returning officers being kidnapped on their way to the center where those results will be collected will be avoided. The ideal of there are no vehicles, there are no logistics to ensure that this result get to where the collection center is an issue. So that is why today people like us, we are equally clamoring for that electronic transmission of results. The position of the senators, to me, I do not even expect that from them at all. As a leader who represents the people who want to have credibility to our electoral process, voting against transmission of result via electronics, where you know that those malpractice and snatching of ballot boxes and papers will be avoided. It's not even. I was not happy, even though it has been passed conditionally. So, in as far as I'm concerned, Nigeria need to be served as a model to other countries.
Okay.
Because we're supposed to be the jet of Africa. So anything coming out of Nigeria supposed to be a kind of thing that will serve as a kind of a good example to other countries of the world, to other countries of Africa, to copy.
Okay.
A situation would begin to move around as if we don't even know where it is an issue. So when the senator is voting against electronic transmission of results, what one thing it shows that what is the perception of the people is that they have the mindset that I may not win the next election. So if results are being transmitted, so let me vote against so that when I don't win, we can manipulate the result as usual so that I can emerge. It happened in Taraba State and Imo State when a candidate will be seen himself winning, duly voting, then duly counting, he lost the election. So through this electronic transmission of results, all these things you see will be farewell to all these things.
Okay, let me push you there. Let me link up now with Pius Alile from the UK, joining us live on the show this morning. Pius, I'm sure you've been following. You follow proceedings, yes, Thursday and Friday in the National Assembly. What are your thoughts?
Oh yeah, Mr. Kosu, I'm not surprised. Are you surprised? When it comes to building an enduring institutions, when it comes to building a structure that goes beyond self, that goes beyond personality, we always have issues. You will recall that in Edo State, we had a time when some House of Assembly members or the full House of Assembly members voted against House of Assembly autonomy, financial autonomy. They voted against themselves. So it's not straight when it comes to building structures, building institutions. We always fail in that regard. I am not really surprised that a matter of this sort that can enhance, that can add credibility, that can add value to the electoral process was jettisoned on the altar of what? Mediocrity. On the altar of mediocrity. The fact that the senators could not appraise and understand the value of such processes to the electoral process is something that we have to think about. And it is one of the reasons why we are retrogressing as a nation. We don't think beyond ourselves. We don't think that, look, we are laying a structure for the future. All of them are thinking of how to rig election in 2023. And unfortunately, for them, they don't know that this life that we are talking about, God alone holds monopoly of it.
Okay, but Pius, I just want to, Pius, just hold on. I just want to interject you a little bit when you said all of them are thinking about how to rig the 2023 election. That's a generalistic statement, and there is really no evidence to back that up. Yeah, there is no evidence to back that up. But I want us to tone down on that line of thinking that all of them are planning to rig the 2023 election. That election is still far away. Yeah.
Yes, there is, because this electoral process we are talking about, this amendment we are talking about, electronic transmission we are talking about, we add value to the electoral process. We add credibility. Are you following me? We are having instances where the court, where the judiciary have become an institution that they use in bringing about elections. And it is only the judiciary they are not trying to use to stamp credibility. That is wrong. Let our electoral process be fair. It doesn't matter who wins. It doesn't matter who loses. It is imperative that we must strengthen our electoral process, not because of us, but because of the future. Because we are trying to build a structure. You see, one of the major problems we lack, one of the major things we lack in that country is institutions. Very strong, impersonal institutions. Institutions that have nothing to do with personalities. That is what we are lacking at the moment. So I very much believe, and I support that motion, that the electronic transmission should be used in all elections. Honestly speaking, you understand what I mean? So it doesn't matter. We need to straighten that. So I believe very much that those that voted against it were short-sighted, honestly, and they did it for selfish reasons. Because there is no reason why a state politician or somebody that is patriotic, who believes in the future of that nation, who believes in the good of that country, will vote against it.
Okay.
There's no reason for it.
All right.
There's no reason that I'm surprised. It has always been like that. I said it just now, that we had a case where Edo State House of Assembly members that we voted for, voted against their own interests, voted against institutions, voted against building a future for legislation, voted against the independence, the legislature. They did it in Edo State. There is a record.
Okay.
So this is exactly what is playing out.
Let me pass you there, Pius. I'll come back to you in a moment. Bishop Makalame, we analyzed the voting pattern in this e-transmission of election result. One thing that came up strongly, the national legislators voted along political lines. You belong to this party, this is what the party stands for, you vote in that line. What does that portend for our democracy, and what does that portend for this process that we're talking about?
It shows that we are not united on a common purpose. It shows that what we are just after is what benefits us and our political parties.
Exactly.
We don't think about it. We don't think about the people. We don't think about the progress and prosperity of this country. Democratically, we are not advancing. We are not moving at all. We are not moving forward because the kind of leaders we have now, I don't know how they think. I don't know how they think. Because government, you don't privatize government. It's not a personal property. It's not a personal business. So if you are taking a decision, that decision must be supported by the public. That is why we said it is the government of the people, by the people, and for the people. So any decision you are taking that is not of the people, that is no longer democracy. So if you are a senator, you are House of Rep member, and you are voting according to how it's going to favor your political party, how it's going to favor yourself, is that democracy? It is not democracy. So what we are after is that we need the enthronement of what? Co-leadership, co-leaders in this country. And the only way it can come, it is when our electoral process is credible. We've been able to have credibility to electoral process. Where those who are supposed to be in political offices are there. Do you know that a lot of voters, after doing the debates and campaign, they listen. They do say listen. They listen, they go to the field. You see them giving their vote to the candidate of their choice. In the field, you will hear news that this man is winning, that candidate A is winning, candidate A is winning. After the result eventually be declared, you discover that the party A, the candidate A that was winning eventually, that was winning initially, it become a loser. The candidate B, who was not even getting any votes, become the winner of the election. As a result, we don't get what we decide to get in democracy.
Okay.
Let me tell you something. A man cannot give what he does not have.
Absolutely.
Name that could not have it.
Absolutely.
That is why today, we are still where we are today. See, all of us have to work together. If this country must work, we must go back to 2014 National Conference. There are a lot of issues. About 600 resolutions were made in that conference. Up to 500 leaders in this country, in various institutions, gathered, and they brainstormed. They came up with a resolution, and they submitted a report, more than 10,000 pages, for implementation, for us to have a better country. But today, where is the report? The report has not been implemented. That is why you see that Nigeria is just like, I don't know, we are just sailing without compass. We are sailing without compass. No direction. So people don't feel that if you must be a leader, you must do the bidding of your political party. You must do the bidding of people who actually sponsor you to do an election, at the detriment of the public, at the detriment of this country. See, I have told people severally, government is just like a business organization. This ITV. If Sonny Duke Okosu must progress economically, first of all, where you work, ITV must progress first. It is the progress of ITV that will give you your own progress. If you work in an organization, if the company does not progress, the workers become poor. In a government, in a country, if the country is economically poor, automatically the citizens become paupers. That is what is happening today. Do you think we don't have what it is? Nigeria is blessed with a lot of people who are intellectually, who have this high mental capacity, who can think out of the box, who are very resourceful. But today, they're not be given opportunity to become leaders because of the electoral fraud. They participate in an election, they are being rigged out. They don't access to power to manifest and put into place what they have to change the narrative. So that is what INEC is trying to do. Let them vote. Nobody will snatch the ballot paper. The returning officer will not say I was kidnapped on my way to Benin. He will not say I was forced, I was intimidated, I was coerced to change figures. Then the arithmetic, the man manipulation and the man mistake that will come in the calculation and the arithmetic will not emerge. Vote, the result will be transmitted to the center. No manipulation.
Okay.
So if the commissioner, the executive commissioner of NCC now said that the only limitation we have is that hackers.
Yes.
What kind of hackers will be more than those people that we ambush the returning officers on his way from Akene Bode to Benin to submit results? So we should be able to take in this direction so that we can have a good country.
Okay, let's get Pius in here. Pius, I was asking a few minutes ago your perspectives on the fact that the National Assembly members voted on this issue of e-transmission of election results along their party lines. And yeah, we've seen reactions twirling that. Someone like Chief Oxekumen said it's a tactless action, and several other reactions have trailed this action of the National Assembly, who actually conditionally, though, voted in favor of electronic transmission of results, now leaving the decision on the decision with the National Assembly and the Nigeria Communications Commission, more or less taking this responsibility away from INEC to decide. But there's a reaction of INEC that we'll talk about that immediately. But let me get your reaction along the lines of the voting pattern of the legislators.
Yes, I have said that before. Once you are elected, you should begin to act patriotically, and you must begin to act beyond party sentiment and political sentiment. You become a leader of the whole of your constituency, irrespective of those who voted for you or irrespective of those who didn't vote for you. What matters is that you do the right thing for the generality of the people. The good of the people become uppermost in your mind. You consult with your constituency. You can also consult with your party. But the popular opinion, where your party sentiment conflicts with popular opinion, when it conflicts with the interest of the public, the interest of the public should prevail. So it shouldn't be about the party. It should be about patriotism. It should be about building institutions. It should be about doing the right thing for the generality of our people and ensuring that the institutions that you represent, which is the democratic institutions, those institutions are strengthened when you eventually quit office. So it is important and imperative that we understand that wherever we are serving, we must add value to how we met those institutions. So as far as I'm concerned, what those legislators did, the senators that voted against the electronic transmission, as far as I'm concerned, that was an unpatriotic act. It was an unpatriotic political display. And as far as I'm concerned, it is not proper, it is not right. They should think beyond themselves. They should have thought beyond party sentiment and ensure that they add value. Their names have gone into history as those that have not contributed adequately to the political development of that country. So it is wrong. Just like the names of the House of Assembly members who voted against the interest of the independence of the legislators. Their names have also gone into history. When I see some of them today, I make reference to them and I say, look, these are one of the House of Assembly members that voted against themselves. So all these things we must understand that when we have opportunity to serve, we serve, because that opportunity is temporal.
Okay.
It's not a permanent opportunity. So that period, that 4 years, that 8 years, you must serve patriotically. Leave your name in the sand of time. Because at the end of the day, reference will be made. I am glad that they were able to publish the names of senators that voted against that electoral process. Very, very. And for the first time, I was able to see in Nigeria where we were able to identify the senators across the country that voted against the transmission of results. I cannot agree less with Bishop Bakalame that you cannot begin to say this process, this electronic transmission will not have value, because there are a whole lot of irregularities in our electoral process, especially on election day, where people travel from village to village. INEC officials travel from remotest part of the villages to bring results, and you hear a lot of stories, especially from the riverine areas. You hear about the riverine areas. I don't even think they vote there the right results. I can say that. Well, because
you can say that, but you can't provide the evidence, Pastor Lile. You can say it, but there's no evidence to back it up that in the riverine area they don't vote the right results. You don't vote there.
I am telling you that in most cases the right result. That is a fact.
There's no evidence. There's no evidence to that fact.
There are so many reasons they give why they cannot submit the right result. When you have this electronic transmission system, the issue of traveling from one riverine area to go and deliver result to the other area is removed completely. The human factor, the human elements, human feelings, human manipulations, they are removed completely. So you cannot come and say that will not add value. So if you are saying that is not important to you, it means that you want to rig election. Anything that will ensure transparency, anything that will ensure accountability, anything that will ensure credibility, we politicians should be supporting it, irrespective of the interest. We must be supporting, because we are building a future. We are building a future for our children. We are building a future for the nation. You see, all this self-seeking, self-serving representation should not be encouraged. Honestly, Mr. Kosu.
Okay, let me just cue you on one point.
It is not about the political party.
Yeah.
Belong. We should not be thinking that way. It should not be about the political party belong. As far as I am concerned, I am not holding them responsible based on the political party they belong. I am holding them responsible because they were elected to represent various constituency. Are you following me?
Yeah.
They were elected by the people. So the people, they are accountable to the people. So as I am concerned, I am holding them by the attitude that they have displayed as a representative of the people, not because they belong to a political party.
Okay, I wanted to cue you on one point. Pastor Lile, just hold on a second. Yes, just hold on a second. Yeah, just hold on a second. The National Assembly leadership, Senator Ahmed Lawan, Senate President, and Speaker, House of Representatives Femi Gbajabamila, said they took their decision based on information made available, for example, from the Nigeria Communications Commission, who came out to say that, look, the coverage in Nigeria in terms of network hovers within the region of about 40 or 45%. And so they can't guarantee that I'm coming to that. They can't guarantee that the coverage will be 100%. They can also guarantee that the system will be free from hackers. What do you make of this line of reasoning on the part of the national legislators?
When it comes to election, the people we should listen to, they are the electoral umpire, and that is INEC. They are set no institutional responsibility to conduct election in that country. We should be listening to INEC. that they have the capacity to carry out electronic transmission, that they have done it before and they will do it again, that they don't have any issue. They contracted what those communication people said very clearly.
Okay.
INEC was confident. But, of course, as usual, the senators completely jettisoned the position of INEC on this. INEC, we should listen to INEC. INEC they are responsible for the conduct of election, not all those other side talk. As long as INEC have said, we can't conduct this election, we can't transmit this result. We have transmitted result from the remotest part of the villages. The interland, we have done it and we have succeeded. We have the facilities to do it. So why did they not take that position in cognizance when they were voting? Why did they not take that into cognizance? Why did they not make reference to what INEC said? Why did they not believe in INEC? Why?
Okay.
So these are the questions.
Okay, the same questions we're asking, yeah.
INEC, the commissioner responsible for this. Why did they not?
Okay.
So you can see, they just want to listen to who they want to listen to. They are looking for institutions that will back up what decisions made, and they've taken their decisions. So you understand?
Yeah.
It is self-serving. It is a self-serving position that they took.
Okay.
It is not in the interest of
Let me pause you there. I'll come back to you. I'll come back to you in a moment, Bishop Khalame. Just like Pastor Lea was saying there, INEC has come out to say electronic transmission of election result is practicable, and that in 2020 this was done, just like you mentioned a while ago. But now, with the Electoral Act amendment by the National Assembly, it's been done conditionally until NCC gives a coverage certification, so to speak, and then approved by the National Assembly. What do you make of the conditions given by the National Assembly in amending the Electoral Act as far as electronic transmission of election result is concerned?
You see, it's, if you look at that, the passage of that bill, that statement is political, very, very political, and I may not be wrong when I say that the Nigeria Communication Commission is working pari passu with the National Assembly to ensure that we don't have credible elections in Nigeria, because the position they are giving to us is not genuine at all. That what are the conditions? 2 conditions that have made the people to, you see, in African concern, that section of the Electoral Act has been expunged, which is the electronic transmission of results. It has been expunged, whether it's conditional. That means if the NCC say to them in the next 10 years that now we now have 3 gig to transmit results all over the country, that there are no more hackers, that is where we cannot transmit our result. That conditionally is fictitious, it's misleading, it's political. So that's why I was not happy with the statement made by the executive commissioner of that commission, Mr. Adeosu. It is not in the interest of the progress of this country. We want to progress. In the last stakeholder meetings organized by INEC in Edo State here, I was there when I asked the resident commissioner, I said, sir, is it difficult to vote in our comfort home, in the comfort of our homes, during election, without going to field to cast our votes? Maybe in your office, no public holiday, as you are working here, you ask, okay, today is presidential election, you take your food, just vote. Is it difficult? They did not answer that question till tomorrow. It shows that these guys know what they are doing. They don't want the system to be credible. They don't want us to have what's called free and fair elections, because they know that the wrong people will not win election. Many of them have made politics a business venture. They don't have what to give. They don't have what to bring to the table. And they know that the people will not vote for them. You've been an office for the past 4 years. You have not affected the life of your people. You have not delivered to them the good dividend of democracy. They are not in doubt that if you come, if they are going to vote for you. Yes, because you know that when you come, they will not give you that vote. We are looking for ways You are paving way for yourself for manipulation. When the voice is not for, if I don't win here, I'll just ask my talks to just stay the ballot box or write the results. We don't want them to be writing results. Let them vote. When they vote, we transmit. Then we will not give credibility to the process. Then the right people will now emerge. So that this agony, this poverty, this suffering in Nigeria will stop. When the righteous rule, the people rejoice. When people have something here, become leaders in this country, I tell you, those who travel to this country to Dubai, they will not go any longer. It is because we don't have the right people in positions. That is where we are suffering today. And the only way we can have the right people in position is when we begin to do some amendment of the Electoral Act that will give room to people who do not even have who cannot even muzzle out the finance to bribe people to vote for them. But they can accept the power by what they have. Let me tell you something. Though the earliest today who want to vote, they will vote not because they don't want to even get your money. They want to get their money. If they listen to you during debates or your campaign, they look at your programs, they will go to feel that they vote for you. But the system is wrong. That even when they vote for you, the vote does not count. And a lot of people already have this assumption that it doesn't work. What does it mean that Duke goes to collect for governorship election and his campaign, he have good ideas? I want to vote for him, but what is the possibility that if I vote for him, the vote will count? You see that now? So that one is already result to political apathy in Nigeria, that people don't even want to go to field to vote anymore. That the only way we can encourage people to go to field and vote for the candidate of their choice, it is when we begin to have credibility to the process. And one of it is what we're talking about now. Tell you that when you vote now, your vote will go to Benin straight, or from that unit to the ward, from what to state. Nobody will manipulate the results. Nobody will change. We stay in the ballot box. You see that a lot of people will be interested in going to field to vote. So why do you not come to power and say, I want to contest an election because I have money to throw around? Then, whether I have what to give to the people or not, I must have to become governor. I must have to become senator. That is where we are today. It has to stop.
Okay.
And I want to send a very strong message to NBA. I am not too happy. This is a country where we have erudite, legal luminaries, SCN, and people, a few people have just hold us hostage like this. They are not doing anything at all. People who have no knowledge about the constitution, they are not misleading us, changing things that we don't understand, and the NBA quiet about it. Most times, we are doing our part.
Do you need to wait for the NBA to take action?
But let me tell you, they have a crucial role to play.
Okay.
It is days of California, I mean. Most times I weep, I wish this man is still alive. What is happening? These are people who understand the constitution. They understand the section of the constitution. They know how this thing is run. You will just quote my brother just now. Check my comment. Why is he talking? Because he understands the constitution. He knows how this thing works. So when the decision is taken in accordance with the provision of the constitution, we will say this is wrong. I must have to say something. What is happening? I want to the SCN all over the country. If they protest against all these wrong policies, anti-people policies coming up from the government, I tell you, Nigeria will be like an evil.
Okay, let me just take a short an excerpt from latest development on this e-transmission of election results. The Electoral Act has been passed by the National Assembly conditionally, but INEC over the weekend countered the National Assembly by saying nationwide e-transmission of election results is possible. That story is on the Punch newspaper, just in case you are in doubt. And it says, despite the rejection of electronic transmission of election results by the National Assembly in the Electoral Act amended bill, the use of the technology will be feasible in the deepening of democracy in Nigeria, the Independent National Electoral Commission said on Saturday. The commission premised its optimism on the fact that its joint committee made up of telecommunications stakeholders had revised the system and concluded that electronic transmission of results was practicable. INEC National Commissioner and Chairman, Information and Voter Education Committee, Festus Okoye, expressed these views in an interview on Saturday in Abuja. According to him, INEC was committed to deepening the use of technology in the electoral process and had many times demonstrated it through the creative, innovative, and strategic deployment and application of technology in various aspects of the electoral process, with the goal of limiting human interference in the electoral process as much as possible. He added that INEC has the capacity to transmit election results from the polling units to the registration area collation centers, to the local government collation centers, the various state, federal, and senatorial district collation centers, and the state and national collation centers. The Joint Technical Committee, constituted by the Commission and the Nigerian Communications Commission and made of telecommunication operators, met on March 19, 2018, and the consensus was that the requirements for the electronic transmission of results proposed by INEC is practicable. The meeting therefore agreed that the solution that INEC wants to deploy is possible. So that's the position of INEC. So now let me get Pius to respond to this. If NASS is making it conditional, INEC is saying is possible, is practicable. Without the enabling law, do you think that INEC can still go ahead and deploy this technology?
They can't. They can't. INEC is a statutory body and is governed by the rule of law. They cannot operate independently out of the law. So INEC cannot go ahead to use the electronic transmission system without the enabling law. It will throw up a whole lot of legal issues. So that is not possible. I think INEC themselves have made that very clear, that they operate within the law, that without the enabling law, there is no way they can carry out all these improvement processes. So they cannot continue. They can't implement it. But let me add this, Mr. Kosu. You saw what happened in America recently during the last presidential election. You saw what electronic voting, those that voted from home, and those that voted from outside the physical voting.
Yeah.
What the vote did to the general results that came.
Yeah.
It was those results, those electronic voting and transmission, that changed completely the results of that election. So because you can't, even when Donald Trump was saying that there were irregularities, he couldn't prove it because the facts were there. The facts were there. You cannot fault where the facts are there. They are irrefutable facts. You can't fault it. And that is exactly what we are saying. We need to begin to create an environment of credibility in whatever we do, accountability and transparency. We need to begin to develop our processes. Let's forget about this self-seeking, self-serving behavior that we are having in that country. You understand?
Okay.
Elections, transparency, democracy is not about individuals. It's not about individuals. It's about structures and institutions. And let me tell you, sir, that is what leads to economic development. I agree with Bishop Akalame that it will eventually bring in the right people. It might take some time, but the right people will gradually emerge. You can no longer go to the field and influence people. You can no longer go to the field and give money to people. Let them be able to vote from the comfort of their home. Let them be able to vote from anywhere. I am here now. I would say my unit to another unit without recourse to talking to anybody. I perfected that. All I need to do now is to go there with my document and see that I have done that.
Okay.
You understand?
Okay.
Let's begin to use the electronic system. It helps. If you're confident, let's begin to improve. And they is saying they can do this. Why are we not allowing them to do it? Why are we not allowing them to do it? So I don't understand. When it comes to progressive agenda, people that are supposed to be promoting it, the stakeholders, they are the ones that will be fighting against it. Why do we think that life is just all about us? The nation is all about us alone. Why do we always think that? Today we are, tomorrow we are not.
Yeah.
We must ensure that we build a legacy for our children. We must ensure we build a legacy for the nation. We are not building institutions and structures in that country. We are destroying them. And that is why our politicians should be responsible for this. And that is why we are having a problem in that country. When we are looking at what the advanced countries are doing, it is because the advanced countries have been able to build institutions and structures. What happened in America?
Yeah.
There were no structures and institutions. Donald Trump would have still been president today. If it was in Nigeria, Donald Trump would have remained the president of Nigeria forever. All these things we need to work against. It does not necessarily mean because you are a governor, because you are a president, because you are a set, you can do whatever you like and get away with it. And the church should be able to catch up with you.
Okay.
That is the situation. That is what we need to be.
All right. Let me. Yeah.
We are not moving forward.
Yes.
We are not moving forward. Only you.
All right. Let me pause you there. Let me welcome my friend Reverend Olu Martis, who is the Executive Director, Canvassers for Democracy and Rule of Law. Is also the Bishop of Hill City Christian Center. Thank you for joining us on the program.
Good morning.
Yes. Okay. You just made us perhaps one of the most critical part of this conversation, which is the position taken by INEC on the e-transmission of results. I just also want to read an excerpt from the interview granted by Festus Okoye on this matter. He went ahead to say they've gotten assurances of the service providers that they have provided similar technological solutions to other agencies, and they have the capacity to deploy technology to cover a few blind spots. The commission, according to him, will continue to pilot different solutions, bearing in mind that technology is dynamic and can limit human interference in the electoral process. The commission wants broad powers to deploy technology and is not in favor of a particular solution being written into the law. He added that the commission is a creation of the Constitution and the law, and its powers are derived from the Constitution. The Constitution has also given the National Assembly the powers to make laws, but such powers must not be in conflict with and or at variance with the provisions of the Constitution. We will continue to implement the provisions of the Electoral Act to the extent of its consistency with the Constitution. And as the Constitution is the fundamental law of the land, the Commission will continue to build integrity and trust in the electoral process. Reverend Olu Martins, you just joined us. Thank you. What are your perspectives on this issue that has been brewing? NASS is taking a position. INEC is countering that position as it relates to electronic transmission of results. If we can electronically authenticate the electorate, why can't we electronically authenticate the process of results collation?
Thank you. Let me, of course, I must thank ITV and your very intelligent self for this constant engagement. I've said it before, that but for the media, which is the fulcrum of the estate, the people are going to live in darkness. Patrick Henry says that the collective freedoms of a people, whether big or small, whether black, Caucasians, or Hispanic, is not guaranteed as long as there isn't, information. Let me again apologize for coming late. Okay. Not my character. Traffic everywhere. However, sir, is that when I read this thing, I'm a little bit unwarned as to what to make out of it. Chinese people have a problem living in Japan. Chinese, as advanced as they have 94% literacy rate. They have a problem living in Japan. Japan has 98.7. What that simply means is that Japan is fully automated. The only thing left for Japan is people to have children online without having to meet each other. That's where the world is going to. The world is even leaving traditional television. In no distant time now, we won't have traditional television. Everything is going to be happening, online. I hear a lot of things. You can catch ITV, www. EFCC has established a portal to say, let's use technology.
An app.
To fight, crime.
Corruption.
In the 21st century, not in the 19th century, there is back and forth as to whether to electronically. You are saying, for instance, that you can electronically register people, conduct the elections, but you cannot electronically transmit the result. Let's look at what we call POS machines or ATM machines. I am not sure that there isn't anywhere in this country, maybe not deep in the hinterland, but there isn't anywhere. If there's anywhere that people are not able to use ATM machines, they will be very minute places. Elections, there are no local government results. There are no ward results. All results are from the unit. And world all over, we are saying that the challenge we have in this country is the fact that results from the unit will be taken to a ward collation center. From that ward collation center, it is taken to a local government collation center, manually, analog. The challenge that we have a lot of times, even when you see their master sheet on INEC where they are announcing the results on television, you will see discrepancies, you will see changes. So what it means is that I can have 1,000 votes, all right, from the unit, and my friend here, Bishop, has 1,500 votes from the unit. He is not guaranteed of winning the election at that unit, because we will take that result to the collation center. So if I am at peace with the powers that be, I can shield off, intimidate his own agents, and just simply either add to my own or remove from his own. So all of the activities that are taking place at the unit is an effort in nullity, because you can change the result when you manually collate all the results that come from the unit. So we are saying, going forward, there is no point. Look, once the results from unit A comes in, or unit 1, transmit it directly to INEC, and then to be seen on the INEC portal. What it simply means, sir, is that if myself and Sonny Duke are in a contest together, electronically, I can begin to celebrate, or Sonny Duke can begin to celebrate, because he is monitoring his results from the unit. If anybody doesn't want that, that person perhaps clearly isn't popular, because what transmitting elections from the unit means is that the popular person, or the most popular person, or however the results entered into the ballot, whether they were induced or not, the result in the ballot is what will reflect in the final analysis. Look at what happened in Osun State. There was a 6-hour break from midnight to maybe like 6 a.m. according to what people say. That was when all the Obubuye. Well, I've heard people say that the agent, even at INEC, the INEC office at the state level, well, I've heard people say that the agents of the opposition party, or whichever party, were intimidated. And it was at the cost of that thing that changes, were made. So I am want as to why people would be against electronically transmitting the result if they do not have something, to hide. This is where the world is going to. People were not, mature for it. A time was, sir, when we made calls in this country, it was 15 naira per minute. If you sent a text, it was 15 naira per minute. So if I was trying to call you and I was only able to talk for 14 seconds, I was going to pay that. Yeah. But because we were determined for cellular network, what happened? Some other networks came in and made the thing more competitive. Today, nobody's talking about regular calls. No. Everything we're talking about now is on the internet. Yeah. WhatsApp calls, Facebook calls. That's where the world is going to. And you would have thought that Nigeria in the 21st century, a supposed giant of Africa, would readily embrace tech. We're talking about now, people are using nanotechnology. You don't have to, we're having bloodless operations now, where you don't have to be caught. Just small robots, nanotechnology can enter into you and affect what. That's where the world is going to. Okay. But I always say that the problem with the presidential system of government is, whether it is the governor or the president, is that most time people always take the character of who the president is. When the President Donald Trump was president, you saw how his aides were talking. So if you have a president or a presidency that is not giving, to flexibility, I've said it before, and this is not personal. I have tried to look at how General Muhammadu Buhari, as a human being, has advanced himself as a human being. I haven't seen any book written as General Muhammadu Buhari. I haven't seen seminars. The point I'm trying to make is that person now is the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. His disposition generally to technology, his disposition generally to change, his flexibility is how his age, whether they are ministers or approaching.
It's not in the National Assembly. The National Assembly is the legislative arm of government. Mr. President doesn't need to weigh in.
No, his party. Yes, his party is in the majority. Yes,
But I just want us to look at a comment by former INEC chairman, Professor Atahiru Jega, who commended National Assembly for taking steps to review the Electoral Amendment Act 2010 as amended, but fought at the exclusion of electronic transmission results. He went ahead to say, you can't permit INEC on one hand to use electronic voting and not use electronic transmission of results because they usually they go as a package. Let me get you to respond to this, Bishop Akalame.
You see, just like what we have discussed, all these things we are talking about is as a result of people who do not want the progress of this country. You can imagine what the former boss of INEC have just said. Why must you talk about the exclusion of that section of the Electoral Act? Okay, now we are registry. Voters are registered now online. Is it not?
Yeah.
So what will not stop us? What will not stop the commission? Not to transmit results electronically. So that's what take. See, I have always said, I said, Nigeria, we are not intelligent. We are very intelligent people. Maybe they see things that we are see there, the back, those days, we are seeing the dark. Everybody now is now aware of what is going on. See, the world has advanced. Information are no longer be transferred via papers. Information are now be transferred via software. So if you are still operating in that dimension, you are school. Nigeria don't need leaders who are analog. This is 21st century. We need leaders who are not in the 11th century, who are still operating in the past. And that is why today Nigeria is not progressing, because the destiny of this country is in the hands of 11th century leaders who do not want this to grow. Look at it very well. Everywhere now, even in accounting profession, the technology that we brought into the profession anywhere today is massive. That things are no longer the way they used to be. You know what I'm saying now? What are we trying to stop? We are talking about corruption. I've said it before. I said, if Mr. President is fighting corruption, that means the kind of corruption he's fighting is insignificant. It's financial. The worst corruption I've ever seen is this electoral fraud, where we now give room to people mediocres. People who do not have what it takes to lead the people. People who do not have what it takes, who cannot take out of the boss to affect the life of the people. To me, is the word corruption. Now, I can say, oh, we can work with Nigeria to see how we can put a stop to this corruption, which is called electoral fraud. What we do? Let people go to the field, vote. From there, we transmit. During the last election, we had the 2016 election.
Okay.
I heard a professor from university who was a return officer who said he was actually taken to the bush, the vehicle that was taken from Agedebode, because they were waiting for him in the collection center. They were waiting for him. They couldn't see him. They were calling him, no answer. When they eventually appeared, he said, I was stopped. The vehicle was stopped. He said he was kidnapped. He was taken to the bush to utter some figures
in the election result.
So we not say we don't want the manipulation of the election result.
Yeah.
We don't want the ballot paper to be manipulated. Let me tell you, 2016, we were in our unit waiting for the vote from another unit in the same ward, because my unit is the collection center for that ward.
Okay.
We couldn't see. So most of our youth who were very apprehensive, who were very aggressive, they took their bags. They were going to the village until they saw a vehicle parked by the way. They now stop. with curiosity. Let's see what is going on here. A court member was cornered. He actually confessed that he was coerced to manipulate the result. So when we open the issue, it's called that there is alteration. There was alteration in the result. I was even one of them who stopped them not to beat him up during the process.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying now?
Okay.
So to avoid all these things, the logistic problems, no vehicle to take those things to where they were supposed to be collected,
okay,
no generator, all these manipulations will stop. Once these results are being transmitted electronically, anybody that is against this advancement we declare him as enemy of progress, enemy of our democracy, the enemy of the progress and prosperity of Nigeria.
Okay. Pastor, I know you're still there with us. The former INEC chairman, Tahiru Jega, reacting to this debate, has also said that those who are against electronic transmission of election results want to undermine future election. This is quoting him. What do you make of that statement?
Oh yes, absolutely. Because we have said it all. Honestly speaking, those that are against it are undermining the development of the electoral process. And let me also tell you something. If you want something, prove on it. And if there's nothing, you don't have one irregularity or the other. But if you don't start, you expect to affect it when they have not prove that. You must give room for mistakes, and you must also give room for improvement. That is how you improve on system and structures. A situation where you are beginning to make excuses, not to even allow the law to take its course. You are beginning to look at the fact that it will be hijacked. Some people are saying that it will be hacked. Is there any system that they don't hack? Even in America, they don't hack system. Does that mean that because they hack system, they don't use the system anymore? So you have a perfect system when you have not started at all. So it is true that they are undermining not only the credibility of our electoral process, they are undermining the growth and development of our electoral process. And that's just a fact. That's a fact. So we must ensure that this issue is represented before the Senate. Let them vote on it again. The various senators and the National Assembly, they must go back to their constituency and consult. They cannot just be sitting there and voting anyhow. Right now, I am pleased that they are publishing the names of senators and House of members, the way they vote and how they voted.
Okay.
Because that is not very vital. I don't know that in Edo State, I don't know the legislators that voted against it. I know the ones that voted for it. So you can't hide. So as far as I'm concerned, they are enemies to the people. As far as I'm concerned, they are impediment to the growth and development of that country. Because when you begin to undermine the electoral process, when you begin to undermine issues or factors that will bring about growth and development, then you are an enemy. All these people are beneficiaries of electoral process. I don't know why they are against improvement.
Okay.
I don't understand.
Okay, let me.
A direct beneficiary.
Yeah. Let me pause. Let me pause you there. Let me pause you there. I'll come to you in a moment, Pius. Just hold on. Reverend Martin is here. Right now, the National Assembly has given a conditional approval to use of electronic transmission of results, leveraging on certification by NCC. Now, if INEC is saying this is practicable and that the commission is the creation of the Constitution, and there is no way they think that a law will be made that will contradict a creation of the Constitution. So what is the hope in all of this? Does INEC or can INEC go ahead with this policy in spite of the provision of the Electoral Act as amended by the National Assembly?
I sincerely do hope that INEC can and should, from the way that Festus Okoye is talking. it looks like INEC has done their homework. But you must also understand that elections are multi-sectoral activities. It doesn't depend only on INEC. There was a time that INEC said they were ready for elections. The security agency, you know what, you don't have your own police, you don't have your own military. So if you can go there and guarantee your own, the lives and property of your ad hoc and permanent staff, then you can go ahead. But for us, so the military, we can't guarantee your security on the field. What did INEC do? INEC had to bend over. So even though INEC is saying that we can go ahead and do it, at the end of the day, we're hoping that some other agencies of government that work in collaboration with INEC do not go ahead to sabotage this very, very laudable procedure. Human beings are generally like this, especially the black man. You know, Jesus Christ, for instance, is you don't need an intermediary. There's a direct line between you and the Father. People say, you know what, Moses, we don't want God to talk to us again. you come and be talking to us.
Hear from here and talk
yes,
to
and they talk to us. This is what these guys are saying. INEC is saying that, look, there's a direct line. There's a direct line between the people and God. The senators are saying, no, we want to be Moses. We don't want anything that is direct. The reason is because it threatens their estate. It threatens their future, because in this country, politics is purely business. It has nothing to do with service to the people. It has nothing to do with altruism. And that's why I've often said, popular vote does not necessarily make you a good person. If people can popularly vote for a criminal, it doesn't mean that because you were popularly voted for, it has suddenly made you a good person. All right? And especially in our process, where popular vote is subject to series of manipulations. You would imagine that anybody would be excited to hear that his electorate, the way as they are voting, he himself, seated in his house, can monitor the vote one after the other. But they don't want it. We saw what happened in Kogi State. We were told from the rumor mills that helicopters were dropping arms and ammunition for those who wanted to intimidate voters. We're gradually going beyond vote buying, because in Edo State, we saw when money, failed. So people have now realized that if we can deal with vote buying, the only other way is along the way. Like we used to sing that on the way to Calvary, he died. What people are looking for now is from the point that you vote and and when the result will be finally announced, people want to sabotage the process because we have the wrong setup. I said it is in Nigeria that the worst of people preside over the best for people. The preponderance of opinion, the consensus acted on among Nigerians, the raptors and bobtails of society, is the fact that they want the elections transmitted. So how did the senators who voted, how did they vote? They didn't consult with their constituency, because they concluded that when they need re-election, they will not also need that constituency. They will depend on this process where you can manipulate the votes from. So I commend INEC. I want INEC, like Paul says in Galatians 5, to stand fast. They have the backing of the people. And clearly when you have the backing of people, in most instances, you have the backing of God. I do not think that because of the public opinion, I knew that the senators would backtrack. However, in Nigeria, because we have arrogant leaders, they will not. Leaders don't say, I'm sorry in this country. Instead of the senators to say, you know what, we didn't understand this thing. They are sorry now conditional. Instead of them to say, we didn't get it, say, okay, no problem. As long as NCC can condition. I know how many meetings I have attended, large meetings. Sometimes, with great men of God. I know how many meetings Pastor Grace has conducted seamlessly online. And these meetings have gone on during thank God for, quote and unquote, thank God for COVID-19. Because COVID-19 helped us to entrench technology further. There was no Zoom, there were no webinar, all of those things. But COVID-19 now ensured that wherever people were, technology made it possible. So that's the way to go. And you would have thought that anybody will embrace technology. Nigerians have resolved. and we will continue to advocate. And thank God for the media, the fortune of the estate, in partnership with the Nigerian people. Electronic conducting of voting will stand, and electronic transmission of voting will stand. Whoever doesn't want that means that it's not ready for the smoke in the kitchen. It can go for farming. It can do any other thing. But if you want to represent the people, the will of the people must be reflected right from the polling unit. If I was in the House of Assembly now, I'll say, I so move.
Thank you. Bishop, this divergent position on the part of INEC and National Assembly, do you think that INEC constitutionally, in spite of the provisions of the Electoral Act as amended, can go ahead and transmit election results electronically?
My brother Ajik, you know, in the time past, I have always said that the INEC as a commission is not independent. I will call it an independent commission that organize and supervise elections in Nigeria. If INEC is independent, which is the creation of the law, by that creation, INEC has a responsibility, copious responsibilities, to take any decision as it affects the commission on the perfect execution of their function and roles as a commission during an election. It's just like now, maybe the JAM said we want to be organizing CBT exams for students. Students say, no, we need the paper and pen. That is what is happening now. That is why I said, as long as the commission is a creation of the law already, INEC have to take decision that will sanitize the system. You know, a lot of people will blame INEC a lot. Even me here, I have always said that they need to restore that public confidence, that the confidence is no longer there. The people do not trust INEC. They now say, oh, people, I want people to trust us. They are not bringing in development. Innovation. Mm-hmm. In the discharge of their duties as a commission, in organizing and supervising election. And you, as a player, as a student in the school, say, no, we don't want it like this. The one I have to say is that I was very happy when the chairman said, we did it in Edo State. We've test run it, and it worked for us. We will continue to do it. In the interest of all of us. In the interest of the country. Not in the interest of one individual. Yeah. Because you feel that you want to go back to the house again. I know I have not done well. Do you know that some of those senators, they've gone to that side. They've not gone to the constituency for the past 1 year. They've not gone there. So you don't feel that an election is coming 2023 now. You go back there. They're not afraid that the people will not vote for them. They what they need to do. Let me go back to the traditional ways of getting to the house. Manipulation of result. Writing the result. Intimidation. Bribing. And we know that people are hungry. By the time I get by there, we borrow, grading machine, they will vote for me. And then I say, no. These people who have tasted poverty, who have tasted this agony, hunger, in these past years, they will take a decision that will change the narrative of this country. The people are now saying, no, we don't want those results to be transmitted electronically. That means that they have a secret they have not told us. So in as far as I'm concerned, the INEC have to do their research very well. That if they know they have the power to transmit this result, I know it's practicable, they should go ahead and do it so that the system will be sanitized. Because we have good leaders. My brother, if we have good leaders in this country will be the best in Africa. We cannot be the giant of Africa. And our economy is very slim. There are no jobs. The economics is very poor. People are suffering. Then Nigeria has become the headquarter of poverty in as far as concerning the world. It's because we don't have good leaders. We have been blessed with natural resources and human resources. What we need, good managers. And how these good managers, how can they emerge? It's through credible electoral process. Okay. And that's what INEC is preaching. That is the gospel. And the only gospel that we can hear, the only system, the only process, where we have this enthronement of good leaders is this advancement of the process where devoid of manipulation, rigging and all, then we cannot say, oh, leaders, good leaders, that can change what is happening to us now can emerge. Otherwise, we continue to go around the cycle.
Okay. Pius, quickly, you're still there with us. Give us your final perspectives on the position of the law. Yeah. I know you're not a lawyer anyway, but just go.
I want to say that there are a whole lot of unanticipated issues around the Electoral Act.
Okay.
The Electoral Act will continue to be subject to amendment because of unanticipated issues that may come up. And that is why you have our National Assembly. So it is not out of place to seek the consent of the National Assembly, because even when the Constitution empowered the INEC to carry out the conduct of elections across the Federation, the Constitution did not anticipate so many unanticipated things that might occur. The electronic transmission is a major alteration to the electoral process. And because of that, the input of the National Assembly and the enabling law should be required. Because if the INEC goes ahead to transmit results without a particular law backing that aspect of the Electoral Act, I can assure you that there will be a whole lot of legal battles concerning that, and especially when there are irregularities. And that is why we need the National Assembly to convey again. Look at it, probably they misunderstood the whole concept. Probably they didn't understand it. Probably they didn't feel the point.
You're holding brief for the National Assembly. You're holding brief for the National Assembly.
No, I am not holding brief that what they did was right.
Okay.
I am saying that enabling law is required. An amendment is required to back up that transmission. That is the point.
Okay.
That the National Assembly must support this particular amendment. That saying that the army can go ahead to do it without recourse to law, there will be problem.
Okay.
The Constitution, we know, has empowered the INEC.
Okay.
And when it comes to major alterations of this sort, there must be enabling law that continue. And the Electoral Act is subject to amendment anytime, any day, because of the evolution of the electoral process. The electoral process will continue to evolve. Honestly speaking, we are talking about electronic transmission now. I can tell you in another 10 years, we are talking about another thing entirely.
Okay.
So that is why it is important that we vote in people who are sound-minded, who understand the concept of patriotism, who are educated, who are enlightened to understand what development and progress of the nations should look like. And the problem we are having is that we don't have the right people in power, and that is because of all these problems.
Okay, thank you very much, Pius Salile. Final word from Reverend Olu Martins as we call it a wrap.
Well, I'm here to do my tabulations as to how the things were voted. I am from first view, it looks like the opposition party favor electronic transmission, and it looks like the ruling party, many of them do not favor electronic transmission. The reasons are very clear, because they have come to find out that the agencies of government that wield the force of the law in terms of the army, in terms of the police, quote and unquote, can be manipulated. We have seen it happen again in favor of the ruling party. This is where Mr. President, because we talk about body language, this is where Mr. President needs to demonstrate and convince people like Bishop Akalame that INEC is truly independent. Okay. Once that happens, and the president overtly or however does it to say, look, INEC should go ahead and do what it needs to do to guarantee that this election is not just free, fair, and credible, it's seen by all to be free, fair, and credible. And electronic transmission of results is the way where everybody will be, because no police officer can harass the internet, no army can harass the internet. Once we all vote. The best we can do is to influence how the results enter into the polling unit. And you know now you can't even snatch ballot papers because the ballot papers in this unit cannot be used in the ballot papers unit. For another. So gradually, and I in consensus added on with what Pius Alile said. If we don't start, like they say, if you use so long a time to practice how to be mad, when are you going to actually start, acting the madness? So if we don't start now, when are we going to perfect it? When are we going to, remove the loopholes and then maybe by the next election? If we now say it is by the next election, it means that we have wasted another 2 or 4 years to ensure that we begin a process. But if we start now, we're sure that by the next election, like we have often been doing, we would have gotten it right. There's no perfection till tomorrow.
Okay.
They are hacking accounts, but all of us are still using
mobile apps, online banking, and what have you.
Some of us have become more sensible. Now we go and move small money from our main account to the online account manually. If you finish, we go ahead to it again. We will not leave everything in the online account because if the altar says I will shoot without missing, the bed says all my money will not be in one account.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. Pius Alile, founder Pius Alile Coalition Initiative, join us from the UK. Pius, thank you for joining us on TMI this beautiful morning. Thank you very much. Thank you. And Bishop Akalame, thank you for coming. And Reverend Lumati, thank you for coming. Well, that's it on our conversations today on TMI. We'll take a short break and we'll be back with the rest of the program. Please don't go away.